Hello and happy new year to you. It's alright, just tea. So I might be a few days late with this, but this is basically my end of 2018 wrap up. I was going to do another video on my year on YouTube because that's coming up on the 19th of January. But today I'm just basically going to give you a look through and give you some thoughts on my 10 favourite images from 2018. And that's coming up pretty much now. So 2018's been a bit of a funny old year. I was going to say it's seen some big changes. It hasn't really seen some big changes. YouTube's been a bit of a change for me, and it, thinking back of it, it's given us a purpose and it's given us a direction, but it's not really aided my work. I think it's kind of slowed things down a bit. I was intending on using it to go out a hell of a lot more with the camera, vlog all the time, this kind of stuff, but it ended up just slowing me down really on producing the quantity of work that I usually produce. Looking through my catalogue, in total I only shot 13,000 images, start to finish through the year. Now in previous years I could do half of that in a week. So it just shows you how little I've shot. And then towards the end of the year, of course, I bought the Canon M50, which this has been recorded on, and used that for pretty much 2 months exclusively on just using that for the photographic side of things. And that also slowed us down, probably at the wrong time of year, because it was towards the end of autumn is a busy point, and so there's a few opportunities for good shots which I didn't work out because I was using a strange camera. So the images I've picked out for highlights of the year, I mean, they are probably my favourite images of the year. There was one I was maybe a bit dubious on, but I had 9 that I liked, so I thought I'd better include another one to make it 10. So I'm just going to go through them now. First off is an image that I made in the dunes at Bamburgh at sunset. It was, for all the light was beautiful, just subject matter wasn't great, and I just really wanted to use the conditions to the best. And what I ended up with was this a graphical type of image, and it's all to do with shape and colour. That's all it's based off. You wouldn't actually know it was the dunes if I hadn't just told you. I was going to say that these are in chronological order as well, so they are going from the start of the year, and that image was made in March, so just coming out of the winter gloom and getting back into something decent when colour and life started to come back around. And again, from the same night is the next image. And this is an image where I've really started to think about how my work is becoming a bit more washed out, a bit more, well, basically almost mimicking a watercolour wash. And this was one of the first examples of the year that I think worked. I did 3 versions of this image, and this is, out of the 3, this is my favourite one. And also with that bluey turquoisey cast, it gets me away from all the reds that you always see from me as well. But don't worry, there's plenty more of them coming up shortly. So the next one we'll have is probably my favourite image of the year, which is Dodo Stone Circle. I did give it some fancy apocalyptic name when I submitted it to the Landscape Photography Awards, but I've completely forgot what I actually called it, so it'll get its name in full when it's part of my exhibition in the summer. So remember about that. Make a note of that exhibition in the summer coming up. And I shot that when I was shooting a vlog, so you can probably check that out here somewhere. The next one is my poppies shot for 2018. For the last few years I've shot images of the poppies at Harbottle Castle by going back to the same location year on year to shoot basically the same subject matter. It's a way for me to track how my style is progressing through the year. So I went back again, I think it was May time, and shot a load of data, and it was kind of a foggy kind of night as well, so maybe it's changed conditions what I usually shoot them in, but this is this year's version of the poppies at Bamburgh, and it's got to be right up there with maybe it's my top 5 images of the year. So next off was a day out to Harbottle Castle. You know, all these places that have ended up in my favourite images are all very local to me. There's probably nothing more than 25 miles away, so it's all very close by. So up at Harbottle Castle, it was another one of these stunning, beautiful, sunny days in July, right in the middle of when the hot weather was on. So much so, and really, normally landscape photography is such a struggle in the summer. Everything's too bright, too sunny. And again, this is probably middle of the day to mid-afternoon, and it was really hard to get that data that showed a bit of movement that I could use in a nice way. So the next 3 shots are actually from Harbottle Castle. The first one is it's one of my underdog favourites for the year. It's close to my traditional look, but the next one is one of these ones that really came together in the editing process, and it's one where just threw in one random layer blend. In this case, I think it was exclusion, which really flipped the colours on it. So it brought in all these turquoises and vibrant yellows, and it really changed the image in a good way. So when that appeared in Photoshop when I was playing around, it really brought things on. So I really just emphasised that, and it is this is probably my second favourite image of the year. So the next one from Harbottle Castle is a very loose, sketchy type of image. I think it was last year I'd made an image that was very much influenced from a watercolour of Turner's, and this one is a similar thing. I mean, it just looks like swooshes of a brush, and there's hardly any subject matter to it. It's just colour and colour. I wouldn't even say a texture. It's just a combination of colours of slightly darker variances of them. But it's one of them images that I just go back to quite a lot, and you can just about make out the ruins of the castle within it. But it's one of the more random ones. The next one is Dunstanburgh Castle, and I've been down to Dunstanburgh Castle a ton this year, since I got contacted to do my exhibition next year, with basically the instruction of make sure you hit all the local landscapes. So that's what I've been going for, is to get the local iconic spots hit. So Dunstanburgh being a difficult one to shoot for myself, I've been there quite a bit, mistakenly using the Canon quite a lot, which hasn't helped things. But this is one of the ones that I'd shot before I got the Canon, and for a dull morning came out pretty much ideally what I was looking for to get from the image. So I was quite happy with that one. Right, hopefully we're back alright, because the had to change the battery there. So the final two images were again shot on the same day. This was a sunrise shoot in October, out on Lindisfarne. We'd gone over for sunrise to shoot over the harbour, and basically sunrise wasn't happening. We were kind of expected the horizon to be clear and the sun to be lighting up the higher clouds, but it was there was clouds on the horizon, really killed things off. But just small slits in the clouds where there was points of colour shining through. So using my movement techniques for swirling it around, I could those small slits of light, I could move those around the shapes of the landscape, and to create a bit more colour and a bit more light surrounding it. So basically this shot came about that, and those small areas of light managed to create a foreground, because otherwise it would just have been darkness, and it's come together to produce a nice little landscape shot of Lindisfarne Castle from the harbour. I think it works really well. And the final one for the year was a bit of a hard selection, because I've basically created about 7 versions of this image, and all from the same data. So it was one of them really profitable as in data usage images, and it's of Lindisfarne Priory from the same morning. So eventually, when the sunrise had disappointed the traditional landscapers that were there with us, I took my attention, and when the light did break through, was lighting up the ruins of the priory, in a nice warm glow, orangey, and then moving on to the more yellowy kind of light, and it really helped the image come along, and really helped with my editing afterwards. That colour contrast was already there. The clouds behind were quite dull, so that helped things as well. And purely because I managed to get so much out of this image, it had to be this version had to be included, which is probably my most regular image to me of the 7 versions I created, purely on the quantity of red and the sketchiness of it all. So that's been my top 10 images of the year. I hope you've enjoyed a look at them, and hopefully I've explained myself well enough of why I chose them. So yeah, I think that'll do it for now. I'm going to do a more in-depth video on my final thoughts on the Canon M50, as towards it being a potential replacement for my existing kit for making the images that I do, and also coming out later in January, because it's on the 19th going to be my 1 year on YouTube anniversary. I'm going to do a video of thoughts on my year on YouTube. So that's all coming up soon, and probably dotted in with other things. And remember that coming up in the next week or so will be the beginnings of my 2019 live streams, which will still be on Tuesday nights at 7:30 as normal, but they may not be next week. They may be put back a week, because I've got a bit more prep to do in here, because I've rearranged the office, of which I'm still working on. So that might be in place, and I've also got a one-to-one that day, so things might be completely off kilter. If it doesn't start on the 8th, then it'll be definitely the week after. I'll be here with my normal edit and live streams. So again, thank you very much for watching. Have a great happy new year to you all. I wish you all well, and every success with your photographic lives, and we'll see you later. Alright then, bye.